Let's turn to some business news now, starting with a look at the markets. And a stall on Wall Street, a pullback on the rally there, where the Dow Jones and the S&P 500 all came off all-time highs. The Dow ending essentially flat, as did the S&P, dropping just 0.1%. The Nasdaq, however, continued to another record, closing there, as you can see, in the green, at just 0.1% in positive territory. Meanwhile, on the main Asian indexes, most markets advanced there again, as investors' eyes remained firmly on the long-term outlook for the global economy, remaining positive about the easing of lockdown restrictions and the prospects of that big spending by the US government. As you can see there, it's pretty much green across the board, both the Shanghai Composite and the Hang Seng in Hong Kong up over 1 percentage point. The Nikkei in Tokyo dipping, though, below the flat line. Well, we can speak now to market analyst at FXTM, Han Tan. Han, a positive overall picture on the markets. Investors seemingly optimistic. What's the main reason for that?
Well, they were the very same reasons that you had just highlighted to your audience there. Not just that better global economic outlook, you've also got more or hopes for more US fiscal stimulus, and of course the vaccine making its way throughout the world. So that narrative is even allowing markets to greatly downplay some of the downside risks. So for example, US political risk that could threaten fiscal stimulus talks, or even the risk of this pandemic becoming endemic, right? And which could derail the global vaccination efforts. So I think, long story short, we expect more gains for risk assets in the near to medium term.
Meanwhile, Han, oil prices pretty flat after rising for more than a week. Is that also on that same assumption of a positive growth going forward?
Yeah, it's only natural that oil prices, would take a breather after the kind of rally that we've seen over the past few sessions. So yes, you're right. Indeed, it's predicated on that global economic recovery and better demand conditions. Now, on the supply side, the move by Saudi Arabia to deepen its supply cuts, that was a positive surprise for markets. It tells the markets that look, they are willing to do whatever it takes to keep prices supported and even push them higher. And to their credit, to Saudi Arabia's credit, it has worked. So I think we have to wait and see what the OPEC monthly report will say tomorrow. And also later today, you've got US crude inventories data, and that will tell us whether oil prices can climb higher over the coming hours.
Okay, Han Tan, we'll have to leave it there, but thanks very much for joining us and bringing us your analysis, Han Tan, there of FXTM. Well, meanwhile, no and low alcohol content cocktails and drinks are expected to become an increasingly popular tipple here in France. New companies are getting ready to offer a whole new menu to customers as soon as cafes can open again. Luke Shreko takes a look.
A rare sight these days as these mixologists practice at a brand new Paris bar with its own shop that only opened in December. They're open for takeaway custom, but Drinks & Co has a difference and an emphasis on booze-free versions of its drinks.
Il y a une réelle demande. On voit l'appétence des générations plus jeunes à consommer mieux, à consommer moins. C'est pour ça qu'aujourd'hui, c'est une évidence que ce marché est en pleine expansion et qui vient s'intégrer dans le marché actuel de la boisson.
No and low, referring to alcohol content, isn't a new idea. A trend away from binge drinking began taking root in the United Kingdom in the early years of the last decade, and people have been trying to bring it to France ever since.
L'idée de départ qu'on a créée en 2012, c'était de pouvoir permettre à toutes les personnes qui ne boivent pas d'alcool de pouvoir découvrir les vignobles avec des boissons qui soient à la fois sans alcool, mais aussi une teneur en sucre qui soit basse, et de pouvoir finalement partager un moment de convivialité entre amis.
It's a huge and widely untapped market in France, as little until now has been acceptable to the French palate, with options often found too sweet and reserved for children. That, however, is starting to change.
We're looking at a growth rate year on year of around 7% to 2024 for the no alcohol segment. And this is likely to lead to an increase of around 30% overall in consumption by that time. And in terms of value, that's an increase of around $3 billion.
With 60% of French people polled about it in January saying they'd like to try a no-low beverage, It seems a bet against booze may just pay off.